Alright, welcome back to the Wizard Den, everybody. Today, we're going to delve into a different topic. So, I've found a way to go about making these videos. So I'll do a reading from a book, and maybe speak on it a little bit. From one book, and then I'll jump back and forth, so I'm not going to jump through thousands of books and, get confusing, but I will be going back and forth between, like, two books. So, the other book I was using was Wheels of Life by Anodia Judith, or Judith Anodia, I forget which one it is, but, this one is Psychic Witch by Mat Auryn. Now, if you don't like the terminology witch, that is okay. At first I didn't either, but just bear with it, because the information in the book is phenomenal. Okay. Now, when I first got this book, I didn't think too much of it. I really just got it out of curiosity. But it really is fundamentally important knowledge and very accurate knowledge. Let's start out with chapter 1 right here. Even though this is not the section I'm going to be focusing on, it says the power and the sight. Witchcraft and psychic ability are natural human traits that we, as a species, have slowly lost touch with in the post-industrial age. Now, I think it's very important to say that quote by Mat Auryn, because it is very true. If we look around today, everybody is completely detached spiritually. People overall do not have the ability to, energetically speaking, sense energy, to hear spirits, to see spirits. For an example, United States as a whole, we spend all of our time plugged into a television. Our societal indoctrination is one that is full of blockages. All these different things, like imagination is childish. We shut down one of the most important things in our brain and limit ourselves. We do this with a lot of things in our indoctrination into the United States society. We essentially disprove things and do this and that with everything growing up. We're told most of these things are childish, or if there is no proof, we won't attempt something or try something because there's no proof, when in all reality you need to get the proof. You have to try it to get the proof, excuse me. and that's where the problem lies. And then people will oftentimes even take that first step, but then they only take the one step. They'll try an evocation, but then they won't, when it fails, be willing to change, to app themselves to see what it is that maybe is blocking this interaction. Our society as a whole is very damning to all of our chakra points. You know, in old society, in comparison, something like the root chakra would have been very easy to keep wide open and clean, right? Because meeting your needs, meeting your survival needs were very easy. In today's world, it's a lot more complicated. Meeting your needs of survival is a lot more difficult. And I'll take this to another level, right? It's all mental, because it's, again, our indoctrination into societal norms that brings about this issue with the root chakra, because we believe that we need, you know, a car, a house, we need a job, we need all these things, when in reality, all we need to feel as though we are surviving is some type of shelter. It doesn't have to be exquisite. A means to stay warm and dry, right, from weather, and inclement weather. If we have that, we are substantiated. Now, if we eat and drink, you don't need to eat 3 times a day. Me personally, I eat maybe once, 1.5 times a day. And that is my body. I am not skinny. I am 180 pounds. I'm not that tall. Maybe like 5'9", probably. I don't know. But I know for a fact I'm not skinny. I'm not frail. I am healthy. I am substantiated. But I only eat once or maybe twice a day. And the second time coming the same night I had eaten the first time. Now, if I was to go homeless, not much would change in the way of how much I would be able to eat daily, because I already eat only once a day. So if I'm able to, you know, scavenge up some money and just save enough to where I can eat once a day, I am surviving and my needs are met and I'm not hungry at all. And it's this where the problem goes, because people think they need to eat 3 times a day, shower both day and night. They need to have a job. The job needs to not have stress, has to be without co-workers in which you have bad relations and bad interactions. You know, there's just so many different factors that go into the equation in today's society and societal norms. Moving on, though, I just wanted to draw the parallel that there's a lot of reasons why, you know, psychic phenomena has gone down. There wasn't hysteria, you know, back in the day. It was more so people in tune with the earth, in tune with their own energies, in tune with nature, in tune with psychic energies, the subtle body. Alright, so here we are. If you have the book, I have turned to page 17. I'm going to switch hands. My arm is starting to hurt. Build lactic acid build up here. Okay. This is the first vital exercise to master before moving on. It may seem simple at first, but you may find it's a bit more difficult than you expect. This is the ability to keep your mind entirely focused on one mental task. affirm to yourself out loud or in your head that when you reach the number 0, you will be in the alpha brainwave state of consciousness. Proceed by counting down from the number 100 to 0. Something simple as that we can't do because of social media. So, of course, it's going to be extremely difficult for us to indulge into a spirit evocation when we can't even focus for 12 seconds. We have to scroll and scroll, doom scroll, or whatever they want to call it. Now, the second part here, a childlike wonder on page 18. Children are often regarded as being more naturally psychic and magical. And I would agree with this. In fact, there's a quote that passed among several different traditions of witchcraft as a wisdom saying that is attributed to Lady Circe, a famous and influential witch. Where is it? God damn it. Which states, if you would walk the witch's way, observe with care the child at play. There indeed is wisdom and a key in this brief maxim. There are a couple of factors that stick out to me about children and their predisposition to the psychic and the magical. The first is that children are fully engaged when they're having fun. The second is that their imaginations are in full swing. I believe this wise saying has a lot to do with these two factors. In fact, the most magically talented people I know are fun people and mind-blowingly imaginative and creative. When children are having fun, they're totally plugged in because they're engaged. Children seek out play, creativity, and fun. Now, think of a child that's not having fun. Think of a child who is completely bored. They're completely resistant, even if that's not their intention. If you put a child in detention or sit them down for a boring class lecture, more often than not, they will begin daydreaming. They're naturally wired to engage with their imagination. They are tuned into the alpha and theta brainwave states naturally, which are the same brainwave states that are activated when one begins daydreaming or engages their imagination. Most of all, children essentially have a permission slip from society to be imaginative. Until about the age of 7 years old, they are predominantly in the alpha and theta brainwave states, meaning they are more prone to psychic experiences. It is only as they grow older that imagination and creativity are condemned in favor of being practical, logical, and serious. It is then that these forms of perception begin to be suppressed and begin to go dormant, waiting to be reawakened once again. It is logical to conclude that it is the natural human state, as it's how children naturally are, as they're being conditioned by external forces. Luckily, I have good news for you. You are a human, and you were once a child. That means you already have the ability to reboot this part of your nature with a little bit of work, and I'm here to help you with this. We're going to start with a seemingly silly exercise of make-believe. Exercise 2, Psychic Immersion. Alright, this is a very simple exercise, but you may surprise yourself with it. I want you to pick a day to pretend that you are an all-knowing and always accurate psychic. Conjure up examples of the all-knowing psychic archetype, such as a mysterious fortune teller, or the witch who sees all and knows all, a wizard, Gandalf, whatever. It's important to not half-ass it. Really immerse yourself in the role just as a child would when playing make-believe with friends or alone to entertain themselves. Pretend that you can see auras. What would those auras look like on different people? You don't have to actually know how to see auras yet. We're just pretending to assign them a color based on how they're acting or who they are. The color doesn't need to match a list of aura color meanings. Make predictions throughout the day and don't get discouraged if they end up wrong. Remember, this is just make-believe and you're make-believing that you're always right. You can practice this with a friend as well. In my workshops, we will have strangers partner up and they take turns pretending they're psychic and will proceed to just making up a bunch of information about the person they're paired with. Who are they? What's their story? Where do they come from? What do they want out of life? What are their hopes and fears? I'm going to pause real quick while I flip the page. This also, being willing to activate your imagination and just playing along, pretending you're all knowing this and that, it's allowing you also to bypass your blockages, your doubts. You're listening to your intuition, that little voice that comes in as soon as it says something. You're listening and you're saying the first thing you're thinking of. So you're listening to your intuition. When you listen to your intuition, that is how it becomes empowered and stronger. When you act on it, when you actually listen to it and you speak on it. Okay. The key here is that the person being read can only confirm accurate statements and not tell them when they are wrong. The person being read will write down all the hits they got correct. This is very important in any psychic development exercise that involves more than one person. Someone can be dead on the money and one piece of information may be off or wrong. And as soon as they hear no, the reader completely shuts down with doubt and no longer is able to convey accurate information because doubt has taken over. The exercise is meant to give you permission to use your imagination and to have fun outside of your normal comfort zones. It lifts the barriers of conditioning that suppresses our ability to use these creative faculties and to employ them in our daily lives. It also builds confidence because it's extremely common that while pretending they will hit on a bunch of accurate information, especially the longer they're in character and the deeper they go. However, accuracy is not the focus here. We will learn how to be accurate psychics as we proceed, but we need to first learn how to crawl before we can run. At the end of the day, write your experience down. How did it feel to role play and immerse yourself into the character? Was it fun, empowering, uncomfortable? Could you feel societal programming creeping in, telling you that this is all nonsense? Were there any accurate hits? Was there anything that came to you that you're not able to verify yet? Be honest in recording your thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Lying or holding back in your journal won't serve you. Part of the journaling experience is about seeing how you've grown through time and seeing what worked and didn't work. Staying honest with how you truly feel and what you truly experienced is going to assist you in growing as a psychic magician. And, the next one is affirmations. They go over, the simplicity of affirmations and how just bypassing certain beliefs will allow you to overcome blockages, these energetic blockages, and move forward in your development. Now, I'm going to end the book here, but I'm going to speak for a second about that. Your beliefs have a huge role on your energetic blockages, your ability to perceive energy, your ability to be psychic, to hear and see, spirits and interact with metaphysical energy. Reason being, right? If you believe that, well, here we go, put it this way. If you do not believe that psychic energy is real because, well, you haven't experienced it. And you are this person if you don't experience it. And I will break that down further. Because you can't imagine yourself ever being able to do that, to see energy, to hear a spirit communicating to you. You know, these kinds of things, receiving information, seeing a picture vividly, and being correct with the information on who the person you're telling it to, about whatever spiritual contact you're getting, you know, that is something that you cannot perceive, and therefore you do not believe in it. And your unbelief or doubt is extremely powerful. I cannot emphasize this enough. Your doubt. And that's what this exercise is about, as well as the affirmations. It's to destroy the strongest blockage in the way of your psychic development. Bar none, doubt is the biggest thing in the way, minus chakras. Reason being is, again, you don't believe it's possible. So you get in your own way. You will not allow it. You will not allow the wall down. If you're not allowing the wall down, progress will never be made. You're not allowing the experience to occur. Your judgments, your preconceived notions, your disbelief, your indoctrination into believing it's silly or fake or childish or made up is the bullshit that gets in the way. And if you're not open, you're closed. And you wonder why you're not developing. You wonder why, you know, if it's real, how come he can see it but yet I don't? I'm doing everything the book says. How come I don't? Because it isn't real and he's mental. No, it's because you're closed off. We are energetic beings. When we, as an energy body, say no to an energy, we are putting up a wall, a physical, energetic wall to certain things coming in. Psychic phenomena is energy. Psychic communication, clairaudience is energy coming inbound. You know, when we have a phone call, that comes to my fucking, you know, my little device that has no wires, nothing connecting me to anybody else. Yet I hear a real person in real time. I can see that person through via FaceTime in real time, mouth moving with the words I'm hearing through energy, unseeable energy. Now when it comes to psychic energy, we have the ability to completely shut it down. And that's something we have to come to grips with. If you really want to see if it's real, or if you really want to see if you can develop, if you have good intention and you really want to develop these abilities, you need to deal with doubt, disbelief. You have to open up yourself to the events, to the occurrence, to the development. You have to break down the blockages and barriers in the way of all the indoctrination you have gone through. Once all this stuff is down, all these energetic barriers fall, then energy can flow through you. You become like a channel in the ground, and the energy coming through psychically is like the water of a river rushing through after somebody has digged the channel from one end to another, from one body of water to another, and you're the channel in between. Once those blockages, aka the patches of dirt in between the two bodies of water, is eliminated and dug out, the water will naturally go from point A to point C now. And you being point B, the energy will flow through you, and you can perceive it, and you will be able to interact with it. And I hope I'm able to concisely break this down and explain this. But step one, okay, you have to open up the imagination, play, take down that stupid fucking barrier, okay, that stops you from even beginning to open up to energies, because that's a big blockage. And then the next video will be focused on the blockages of disbelief. But alright guys, deuces.